Four friends decide they want to start investing. It's 2001 and the market just came out of one of the greatest bubbles of all time. Peter, Ashley, Matthew, and Rosie all have four different investing styles. Each, though, get $2,000 a year on January 1st, and each of these investors only buy the S&P 500 index fund. Peter is an incredible market timer. He manages to invest his $2,000 at the exact bottom of 2001, September 21st. He also manages to do this for the next 20 years, timing the exact bottom of the market every year. Ashley, on the other hand, decides that's too much work for her, so she invests all $2,000 on January 1st of each year. After that, she doesn't give it another thought. She continues this for the next 20 years as well. Matthew shares Ashley's attitude towards investing. However, he decides to break up his $2,000 a year into equal monthly payments every year for the next 20 years. Finally, we have Rosie. Rosie is also an incredible market timer like Peter, except she's an incredibly poor market timer. She manages to invest at the exact top of the market every year for 20 years straight. How did each friend do by the end of the 20 years? Well, Peter did the best, bringing home an incredible $151,400. Ashley was second with a respectable $135,400, and Matthew just barely lagged Ashley with $134,800, and Rosie did the worst, yet still managed to end with $121,100. There was a fifth friend who kept all $2,000 in cash and bonds. His name was Bruno, but we don't talk about Bruno. Before we get into the reason why I bring up these four friends, let's look at this chart from the Money Guy show. It's called the Wealth Multiplier, and it demonstrates how much each dollar you save at every age is worth by the time you turn 65. For our purposes, we're only looking at this half of the chart. Each dollar you save at the age of 20 years old is worth $88 by the time you turn 65, assuming you put that dollar in the S&P 500. As you can see, the drop-off in saving power is dramatic, as by the age of 25, your Wealth Multiplier has halved to $44, and this drop-off in saving power gets even more dramatic with time. By 30, the Wealth Multiplier has halved again. This time, every dollar you save is only worth $23. That's why it's important to start investing as early as possible and be consistent about it, even if the market is uncertain or the world faces a crisis. I know most of my audience is on the younger side, and right now it seems like you've got your entire lives ahead of you. And you do. But the world is changing, crises happen that disrupt our lives and finances, economic recessions, pandemics, and even wars. These are scary things, and scarier yet is a future you didn't prepare for. That's why it's absolutely vital you start preparing for your future so that you can have something to rely on, even if it's just $2,000 every year for 20 years. Shown by the Wealth Multiplier, simple decisions today can have profound effects in the future. You just need to start now, and that goes for my older viewers too. True, it seems like the world gets worse by the day, like it's all going off the rails and now is not the time to invest, but that's a lie. Now is the best time to invest, because really, while the world isn't the best right now, it's much better than it was 20 years ago, better than it was 10 years ago too. All you have to do is look at history and you'll get a glimpse of that. We have unbelievable technologies, opportunities, and access to a wealth of information. It's easier to start investing now than even for our four friends. And it turns out times of crisis are actually great times to invest. Here's a chart showing some of the various crises over the last 100 years and how the market reacted. Even though it seemed like many of these events were world-ending their times, it turns out the world hasn't ended yet. If anything, the sooner you start to invest at any age, the better. Your ability or lack thereof to time the market doesn't matter so much, as we saw with Peter and Rosie. There were really only $34,300 separating them. Rosie's rotten timing didn't have as much a negative result as one might think. More than that, be consistent with your investing and remember the power of your dollar decreases the longer you wait. Invest whatever you can now, even if the world turns upside down, because it's a way to protect your future. Ultimately, that's the core of my message, and really, it doesn't matter what you invest in. In our earlier example, the four friends all invested in a simple S&P 500 index fund. For roughly 98% of investors, I'd say that's perfectly okay. You'll do just fine holding that one index fund. Look at even Warren Buffett. His entire family trust is 100% invested in the S&P 500. Another thing that I would recommend to every investor is that they subscribe to this YouTube channel for the best investing content on the platform. For people like me who want to do more than that, I would still say avoid individual stocks and stick to ETFs for the most part. There are plenty of investment tools out there to make things more interesting. ETF.com is a fantastic resource for this exact thing. The website allows anyone to sort by what kind of ETF or index fund you want to invest in. That could be buying into a specific industry such as healthcare with XLV, specific countries with DXJ, or even those with some sweet dividends like SCHD. There are tons of ways to mix and match your portfolio to best suit your investing styles and goals. I'd especially recommend doing this for my older viewers. So what if you started investing later in life? You could have any number of reasons for not doing so. It could be the belief that the market is random chance, or maybe it all just seems too risky. I hear this sentiment a lot, especially from older people who've lived through a lot more in life. Let me introduce you folks to the idea of investing for income. It's an investing style that allows you to waylay many of the risks of the rising and falling prices of certain stocks. Even if the price of the entire stock market goes down, with this style you'll still have a steady stream of income coming in no matter what. So let me give you an example. We'll use one of the best ETFs to hit the market, SCHD. It's the Charles Schwab Dividend Income ETF. If you go out and buy this ETF at its current price range of $77, you nab yourself quarterly income, regardless of the ETF's price. And it pays roughly 50 to 60 cents per quarter per share, which averages to $2.25 for each share each year. And so let's look at this in the hypothetical long term. If you bought 10 SCHD shares every month at an average price of about $80, yielding $2.25 yearly for the next 20 years, by the end of those 2 decades, you'd be bringing in $6,000 of income a year. And that's a low estimate. Over the last 10 years, SCHD has tripled the amount of money paid in dividends. That $6,000 could very easily be $18,000 instead. Not bad. But the best part of it all, even if the stock market falls, you just get to buy another stream of income at an even cheaper price. And remember, this is just one way of crafting your investing style in a way that both provides safety and a steady stream of income. If you'd like some more information on SCHD or other ETFs I'd recommend, click the video on screen now. Let me know what ETFs you invest in or recommend in the comments below, and I'll see all of you in the next episode of Dollars and Cents.